Welcome to this session on applying to Carleton University. My name is Andy Rayburn, and I am an admissions officer at Carleton University. I'm actually one member of a large team of people who will not only travel the world to visit your high schools and to attend education fairs in your city, but I also am someone who reviews and reads the applications and helps make decisions on applications. So you're truly chatting with someone who is heavily involved in the admission process itself. This session is going to allow you the opportunity to ask questions about the application and admission process, and I'll also give you an overview of the entire process from beginning to end. First off, since you're joining us here today, I do assume that you're seriously considering Canada as a destination for your studies. Canada has so much to offer. Many of you may be familiar with the American education system of having a majors and minors, double majors, or a major and two minors, and also the flexibility to change from one degree program to another. The Canadian model is just like that. You have that flexibility in your studies to move from one degree to another degree or to change your major very, very easily. In fact, myself, I changed my major about 5 times just in my first semester. So you have that flexibility. In fact, most students, what they plan on studying may not necessarily be what they end up, may not necessarily be the degree that they end up earning at the end, because their interests may change. So you can trust that you have the peace of mind and knowing you can change your mind at any point in your studies. So the earlier you make such a change, of course, the more likely it is you can still finish your degree within the original 4-year time frame. Also, Canada is extraordinarily famous for experiential learning, or what we often call co-op, which is short for cooperative education. This means you're working in the industry associated with your studies and getting your career established, essentially test driving your future career before you even graduate. It really helps you to not only finance your education, but it also helps you to get your career established and make those valuable contacts in the industry before you actually finish your degree. Also, Canada's degrees, regardless of where you study in Canada, you'll be getting a degree of that is recognized the world over as being one of the best degrees you can get. It is internationally recognized and internationally accredited. So obviously, Canada is a great place to study, and you're also not spending as much, perhaps, on your tuition as you would if you're studying in other parts of the world. So Canada offers a great package. But since you have all of Canada to choose from, why would you want to study at Carleton University? Well, there are many great reasons. First of all, Carleton is a very diverse campus. We are a mid-sized university, and we're in the top 5 of comprehensive universities in Canada. We're actually number 4 right now. So you have a diverse student population to get the experiences of students from all over the world, which really helps in your education and it informs your studies by learning about the experiences and the perspectives of others. But Ottawa is also the capital city of Canada, and our location in the capital means we have close ties to government. You can easily access your embassy or consulate here in Ottawa. But Ottawa is not just the capital for government, it is also the capital for the high-tech sector within Canada. So if you're interested in programs such as computer science or engineering or IT, cybersecurity perhaps, or data science, you know that we're based right in the heart of that industry in Canada, and we have close ties to that industry. Ottawa is also the home of Health Canada, a government organization that oversees the health of all Canadians. So that means Ottawa is also the heart of life science research. And all of these advantages of studying in the capital city of Ottawa allows Carleton to offer close connections to the industry, which really helps you to join the co-op program and work in these fields before you graduate. Carleton actually has the fastest growing co-op program in the country. So since this session is focusing on how to apply to Carleton University, I'm going to review that with you now. First off, you would complete an online application. You would then upload your academic documents or English language proficiency test results directly to your application. You will then monitor your application, keep an eye on it because we may ask for more information or we may make a decision quite quickly. And once we do make a decision, you can view that decision online. So you would apply online and you would upload your documents, everything that I just explained. You may be thinking, oh, there must be more to it than that. There must be extracurricular activities that are required. Not generally speaking, no. Most of our programs, we will not be reviewing your extracurricular activities for a decision, although that information is valuable in that it can potentially help you to achieve a higher scholarship if you were to apply for one of our prestige scholarships. Also, we don't require any SAT or ACT tests. We'll be basing our decision primarily on your academic performance. I do encourage you to apply while you're in your final year of study before your final grades are released. This may allow us to offer you a conditional offer of admission that would be conditional upon our receipt of your final grades and you maintaining a strong academic average. So that's very important so that you're not delayed in the application for your student visa or study permit. There are two ways to apply. So the first way, which is very popular with international students, is to apply directly to Carleton University. This is the most affordable option if you're only planning to apply to Carleton within the province of Ontario. It's a more affordable application at 100 Canadian dollars, and you can select two different programs. This is the best way to apply if Carleton is the only university you're applying to. However, if you're looking at other universities in the province of Ontario, I encourage you to consider applying through the Ontario Universities Application Centre. This allows you to apply to any of the universities in Ontario, including Carleton, and you'll get 3 application choices. If you want to add more choices or more universities, then the fee will increase based on that scenario, whether you're adding more programs at one institution or more applications to multiple universities, more than 3 within the province of Ontario. So this is also the only way that Canadian citizens would be able to apply, is through the OUAC. So Canadians must apply through the OUAC, but international students on a student visa or study permit are required to go through, are not required to go through the OUAC. They have the option of applying directly through our website, through Carleton 360. If you don't already have a Carleton 360 account, I encourage you to set one up. It will actually allow you to get very detailed information on your areas of interest. And when the time comes for you to apply for admission, it will also ease that process as well, because you already have an active account. I also encourage you to visit our website. If you go to carleton.ca/international, you'll find this really helpful tool, which allows you to check on the requirements for your particular program, whether you're doing the national curriculum in your country or whether you're participating in the IB program or the British system of GCE A levels, or perhaps you're doing an American diploma. Whatever the case may be, this tool will help you understand the prerequisites for the programs you wish to pursue, as well as any other information which might be required. We may or may not ask for the results of an English language proficiency test. If English is not your first language, then we will most likely be asking for an English language test if you have not been studying in an English curriculum school for at least 3 years. And there are some exceptions to that rule. But we accept a variety of tests. The IELTS, I would say, is the most popular. And I encourage you to scan the QR code you see on your screen to see what scores we require. Since the IELTS score is the most popular, it's worth pointing out that we would require a 6.5 overall with no individual band below 6 in order to completely satisfy our admission requirements. Depending on your program, you may still be eligible for admission with an English language requirement. That would be simply one of the courses you would do in your first or second semester of study, taken alongside courses in your degree. So just because you're not necessarily scoring a 6.5 overall, it does not mean that you would not be eligible. We still may be able to admit you to your preferred program. So just to reiterate, the process is quite straightforward. Once you've applied, you will upload your academic documents directly to your application. And you'll provide the official final results once those results are available. If you have any additional information, such as post-secondary studies that you may have completed, then we would need to review that information as well. And we may ask for course descriptions for those courses to see if we can offer potential credit towards your degree. And we may or may not be asking for an English language proficiency test. The deadline to apply is April the 1st for most programs, and we make decisions on a rolling basis. This means that once your application becomes complete, we will review it for a decision. Uh, there are some exceptions to this, and those exceptions are listed on the right-hand side of your screen there. So programs such as nursing or architectural studies or humanities, industrial design, information technologies, interactive multimedia and design major, the Bachelor of Music or the Bachelor of Social Work. These programs have earlier application deadlines. The earliest is February the 15th for nursing, and the others are all March the 1st. This doesn't mean that you would be applying for, let's say, architectural studies on the last day of February. That may not be a good idea, just in case you run into any challenges or difficulties. It's always in your best interest to apply as early as you can. Don't wait until the deadline to apply. In fact, our applications are open right now, so if you're interested in applying and you haven't already done so, I definitely encourage you to apply right away. This slide will give you a sense of the entire process from beginning to end. First, you would apply, receive a decision, and if admitted, you will then review the decision, review the offer of admission. You will accept the offer and you will pay the deposit that we require. This allows us to then provide you with the PAL letter, which is the provincial attestation letter, which you will require if you're applying for a student visa or a study permit. Of course, Canadians and permanent residents of Canada would not require that document. You will then accept the offer of residence that would be included with the offer of admission package, if applicable, and you will then simply register for your classes in July. After that, you will then pay your tuition after you've finished with the course registration, and that would typically be done sometime before the middle of August. Then you will join our orientation program and show up in Ottawa and then start to attend your classes. It's really quite straightforward. I know it may seem too simple or too straightforward. Now I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. So please feel free to ask any questions of us. I'm unable to see the questions that you're asking, but my colleagues are going to share that with me. I'm sure you have plenty of questions. Perhaps you're wondering when we'll start to make decisions. We don't actually have a firm date yet, but we anticipate that process starting in just a matter of a couple of weeks. It's really great to see you're joining us from all over the world today, from Ecuador, from Mexico, from Cameroon. This is really a small snapshot of our student population at Carleton. I see a question regarding who can be a reference when I apply. We actually don't require letters of recommendation or letters of reference for most programs. We do require a letter of reference if you happen to be applying for one of our prestige scholarships. So at Carleton, we have automatic entrance scholarships, which means we will automatically consider you for an entrance scholarship if you're eligible to receive one. But we also have more valuable scholarships that you can pursue, and those are called prestige scholarships. The deadline to apply for those prestige scholarships is March the 1st of each year. And part of that process, you would need to submit a letter of reference or letter of recommendation, perhaps from a teacher or a counselor. Beyond that, we're not going to be asking for letters of recommendation at all. I also see a question here about whether or not you may be a Canadian who is studying or living abroad. Would you be considered an international student or would you be considered a Canadian? That's a great question and one that we get quite a lot. You would be Canadian because you are Canadian. So in your situation, you would be applying for admission through the Ontario University's Application Centre. We will then review your application normally on the same playing field as any international student would. The offer of admission that we would extend to you, whether you happen to be living in Qatar or Mexico or Cameroon or Uganda or wherever in the world you may be living, the offer of admission would not include the documents that you would need to apply for a student visa or study permit. So if you're Canadian, and you would be applying through the OUAC. This means you would also be paying domestic tuition rates as well. English proficiency tests may be required in many situations. Generally speaking, if you've been studying in an English medium school for at least 3 years, earning, for example, an American diploma or British diploma, British A levels, or perhaps the International Baccalaureate, which would be the last 2 years of your studies, we may ask for the results of an English language proficiency test, depending on the individual circumstances. But generally speaking, if you have been studying for at least 3 years, the last 3 years of your high school studies, we may not be asking for that. With that being said, I often say it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I encourage you, if you would be an international student, to take a language test. If we don't require it, no worries. You can have it ready for when you're applying for your student visa. I see a question. What is the percentage one would need for engineering and computer science undergraduate programs? That does depend on your curriculum. So generally speaking, when we convert your education system to the equivalent in Canada, we're looking for approximately an 88 or higher for computer science. And depending on your area of interest within the engineering program, we may be asking for anywhere between, let's say, high 70s all the way up to 88 or even 90. So it does depend on the individual majors within engineering. We can accept all kinds of English language proficiency tests. So I see a question here, which test do we require? We accept Duolingo. We accept many different options. There's also the Pearson test. There's the Cambridge test. There's many different tests that we accept. Keep in mind, though, you may not necessarily wish to take more than one test. The Canadian government may have specific tests that they require, and I encourage you to do your own research into that. Typically, the most common tests we see are the TOEFL test or the IELTS test. So you're welcome to take either of those, or you can also take other tests, as you'll see on our website as well. I'd like to take this brief moment just to have a segue into inviting you to join our virtual open house. All of you that are participating here today, I hope you'll join us again on Saturday, December the 7th. There are 2 different time spots available, and we'll be able to learn all about Carleton University, about the application and admission process, the co-op program. You'll be able to hear from current students and our student ambassadors. It is our largest online event of the year, and I definitely encourage you to apply. It will be on December the 7th, and you can register at the website you see there, carleton.ca/international. I'm just going to leave that slide up there for a little while so that you can take note of that web address and register as soon as you can. I see a question here. If I do have a reference and similar information to that, such as extracurricular activities, could you submit that? You're certainly welcome to. We don't require it, but if you want to share that information with us for any reason, you're welcome to do that. As I said earlier, it will not influence the admission decision in most situations, but it may allow you to apply for, it may help with the application for a prestige scholarship if you wish to apply for a prestige scholarship. So when you're applying for a prestige scholarship, you will answer short essay style questions, maybe 250 to 500 words per question. And they'll also review a letter of recommendation, and they'll want to get a sense of your extracurricular activities, how involved you are in not only your school, but also in your community. It's typically not going to influence the admission decision itself. Okay, I see that you were unable to register for the biomedical sciences program. Yes, biomedical sciences is a major within our Bachelor of Health Sciences. So you would apply for the Bachelor of Health Sciences, and then in that section, you'll be able to select the specific major you wish to pursue. So that should work. So my colleague that you chatted with was correct in their explanation of that. So hopefully that's clear. So you'll, whether you're applying online through our website or you're applying through the OUAC, you will first select the degree of health sciences and then the specific major of biomedical sciences. Can we start the procedural files now? I'm not sure what you mean by that. The application is open now. You're welcome to provide us with your most recent grades from your final year of study. If you haven't already taken the English language test and you are an international student, you may wish to schedule an appointment to take that test, just in case we need it. We may not, but just in case, it's good to do. We'll start to make decisions on applications we anticipate within the next couple of weeks or so, at the end of November or perhaps early December, very, very soon. And as I mentioned earlier, it's always in your best interest to apply early because the earlier you can apply, the earlier we have the opportunity to review your application and determine your eligibility. And if you're eligible for admission, that also means you'll be able to start the student visa or study permit application earlier as well. I see a question here. What kind of co-op opportunities may be available for engineering students? Oh my goodness, we're based right in the heart of the high-tech sector in Canada. We have the highest concentration of engineering firms and IT companies and computer science companies based right here in the capital. And we have strong connections to this industry. There are so many different jobs you can be doing as an engineer. Perhaps you can be working at Nokia or IBM or Shopify. There, Ericsson. There's so many different companies that we're partnered with. Um, as I mentioned earlier, we do have the fastest growing co-op program in the country, and we also are currently the third largest co-op program in the province of Ontario. So there are so many opportunities. Some students even may be working at the Canadian Space Agency, working on next generation space robotics. So there are many different things students can do. How much does it cost for a program? I encourage you to go to our website and you can actually go to the search bar and simply type in tuition. You'll then be able to see different options, whether you're looking for undergraduate admission, undergraduate tuition or graduate tuition. You can then indicate you're looking for undergraduate tuition and you'll see then a list of the international student fees for all of our programs. Those fees are for the current fees. The fees for the fall of 2025 won't be determined until probably May of 2025, but it will at least give you a sense of what the cost may be. Typically, the cost will range between 34,000 Canadian dollars and 52,000 Canadian dollars, depending on your area of study. That also assumes no scholarship, but remember, we will automatically consider you for an entrance scholarship as part of our admission process, which might reduce the amount of tuition owing after you have registered for full-time studies. So industrial design is probably close to 52,000 Canadian dollars per year if you are an international student. So I'll review the scholarship information again. If you're applying for admission to Carleton University and your highest level of education is high school, we will automatically consider you for an entrance scholarship. These entrance scholarships range in value from $4,000 all the way up to $16,000, and that is divided over the 4 years of your studies. So, for example, if you receive a scholarship worth $12,000, that would be reducing your tuition by 3,000 Canadian dollars each year for the 4 years, as long as you can maintain eligibility to keep the scholarship. So those are the automatic scholarships. There are also more valuable scholarships that you can apply for, which are called prestige scholarships. These scholarships are limited in number, so they are not automatically offered to students, but you're eligible to apply for one. And part of that process is providing us with a letter of recommendation, as well as answering some short essay style questions, which allows you the opportunity to talk about your extracurricular activities. The deadline to apply for those special scholarships, the prestige scholarships, is March the 1st of each year. I encourage you to apply for one because really you'd have absolutely nothing to lose. If you were fortunate enough to receive a prestige scholarship, it would replace the entrance scholarship that you would have automatically already received. I hope that makes sense. So I see a question here. I paid for the admission fees, but I haven't got a reply for a week. I think what you mean is you've applied for admission and you're still waiting a decision. So the application fee, if it's through our website, is 100 Canadian dollars. That allows you the opportunity to apply. We'll be starting to make decisions on most programs as of maybe in another 2 weeks or so, give or take. We anticipate the end of November or early December, we will start to make decisions on applications for the fall term of 2025. So thank you for your patience for waiting for a week. Hopefully you have received an acknowledgement letter giving you your application number, as well as instructions on how you can keep an eye on your application online. I encourage you to do that because in just a matter of a couple of weeks, we will start to make decisions. It's worth pointing out that if you are interested or if you've already applied for a program such as architectural studies or industrial design or the interactive multimedia and design major within the Bachelor of Information Technology, these programs are unique in that they require portfolios. The portfolio would be due by early March, typically March 2nd. And you will not be able to receive a decision for those particular degrees until after that portfolio deadline has passed. So the process will be a little bit longer for those special unique programs, such as architecture, industrial design, social work, or the Bachelor of Music. And I thank you for your patience if you have pursued one of those programs. You have now lots and lots of time to prepare your portfolio and submit that by following the instructions online. If you have applied for a program such as engineering or business or commerce, or perhaps science or computer science or the liberal arts or communication and media studies or journalism or the majority of our other degrees, you'll be able to receive a decision, hopefully in a matter of a couple of weeks. So keep an eye on your application and you'll see the decision as soon as it's made by our admissions team. I hope that helps. So keep in mind, there are two types of offers. If you're currently still enrolled in school, if you haven't graduated from high school yet, we'll be giving a conditional offer of admission if you're eligible to receive one. This means that you'll need to continue to study, continue to work hard in all of your classes, get your assignments in on time, and continue to do your best in your studies. Once you have finished your studies and you have your final grades, you will then provide that to us by uploading it directly to your application, and we'll then review it and determine whether or not you can maintain your offer of admission or keep it. If you can, we will simply remove the holds, satisfy the conditions associated with your offer of admission. This is quite normal. We want you to finish your studies after all. Which degrees are offered online? That's a great question. The degrees at Carleton University, they cannot be completed 100% online. There are courses that can be done online, individual courses, but you're unable to complete a full degree exclusively online. I see a question here. Can I apply for a nursing program as an international student if you have 3 years of medical university from back home? Unfortunately, the Bachelor of Science in Nursing program at Carleton University is currently only available for permanent residents or Canadian citizens. Sorry about that. You may not be able to be, you would not be able to be admitted to the nursing program as an international student. I see a clarifying question here. Does that mean that for the portfolio programs, the application is done and the portfolio is sent separately later on? Yes, that's right. Once you have applied for admission to one of those special portfolio related programs, such as architecture or industrial design or interactive multimedia and design major, you would apply for admission and upload your transcripts and an English language proficiency test result if it's requested. We will then send you information on the portfolio requirements. You will review all of that information, and that information is also accessible online through our website. You'll review that information and then follow the instructions regarding submitting the portfolio online. It would be sent separately from the application. I hope that's clear. I see that there's also interest in criminology. So yes, we do have criminology and criminal justice as a major within the Bachelor of Arts and Social Sciences. And a popular combination to include with criminology is to do a double major in criminology and psychology, or criminology and law, the major of law, which is very, very popular at Carleton University as well. Criminology, of course, would not require a portfolio. So if you're interested in criminology, I do encourage you to apply as soon as you can. We'll then request your academic documents and your English language proficiency test results, if applicable, and we'll then determine your eligibility for the criminology program. The cost of the nursing program, that's a great question. I don't have it memorized, but I do encourage you to review that online. We'll try to get that information to you. So please feel free to send me an email. So there is my email address. That's me. And you can ask that question and we'll try to get that information to you. I'm going to leave this slide up for a little while now, just so that any of you that are participating today can always reach out to our team and ask questions. If you're like me, when you're doing events like this as a participant, you may think of the most important questions after the session is over. So take this opportunity to take note of our direct email address and feel free to reach out to us at any time. We're always here to help you. Great. I'm just reviewing quickly if there are any other questions I may have missed. I don't see any at this moment. So unfortunately, I don't know the cost of nursing at this time. I don't have it memorized. I anticipate it will, for the fall of 2025, the tuition will likely be a little more than 35,000 Canadian dollars based on the cost of the science majors. But I honestly don't know for certain. So please follow up with us via email and we'll try to get that information for you. That's right. Unfortunately, we do not have any fully funded scholarships. That's a very popular question. Unfortunately, if you're not a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada, you would not be considered eligible for the nursing program at this time. So please feel free to continue to ask questions in the Q&A section of the chat. Oh, actually, I've just learned that there are 10 spots within nursing. So, as an international student, there is an opportunity for you to join a nursing program, but there's very limited opportunities. There are 10 spots within nursing for international students. I see that there's interest in aerospace engineering. Your highest level of education is high school, and you wish to apply for that? Okay. So, the prerequisites of all engineering programs are physics, chemistry, and mathematics, typically calculus. So depending on your curriculum, we're looking at your math grades, your physics grade, and your chemistry grade. So it's important to do as well as you can. So if you're coming from Nigeria and you've written the OUAC exams or you're preparing for the OUAC exams, we're looking for approximately a B2 or higher to be considered for engineering. If you have further math, that would be to your advantage. And yes, if any of you are interested in pursuing the Bachelor of Science in Nursing as an international student, it's important to point out that admission or consideration for admission to nursing requires your highest level of education to be high school. So if you've done 3 years of medical in a university back home, unfortunately, we could not consider you for admission to that particular program. All programs are eligible for non-Canadian citizens, and as my colleague just pointed out, including nursing, because there are 10 spots within our Bachelor of Science in Nursing set aside for international students. So whether you're interested in business, engineering, computer science, or much more, you're welcome to apply as an international student. I see that there's a question here. What if my grades slip a little bit from what I was offered at the time of admission and that scholarship? What if my grades fell a little bit by the time I graduated? That's actually not uncommon. We anticipate that your grades might slip a little bit. We don't want them to slip too much. So you still need to remain eligible for admission to your program. But it's okay if your grades fall a little bit in most situations. You can still hopefully retain your offer of admission. So we anticipate your grades might actually fall a little bit between what you were offered at the time of admission versus what we receive for your final grades. Great, I hope that helps. What are the lowest grades that could be considered for subjects in engineering? Typically, we're looking for, at the bare minimum, an overall average of 75 plus based on the Canadian system. So, depending on your unique system, whether you're coming from the American system or the British or the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, we will convert your grades to the equivalent in Canada. So, we want you to show strong grades in prerequisite subjects always. So, um, the overall average of your prerequisite subjects will vary depending on the area of engineering you're interested in going into. I see a question here that your degree costs 51,000 Canadian dollars. That will be based upon the current year's tuition. Unfortunately, it might go up a little bit for the fall of 2025. We don't have those figures yet, but that at least gives you a sense of it. So yes, you would be paying that in tuition each year. And of course, any scholarships that you would receive would reduce the amount owing for scholarship accordingly. So let's say you're admitted to industrial design or computer science and your tuition is 51,000 Canadian dollars per year. A scholarship would reduce that by the value of that scholarship. I see that there's a question here regarding what percentage is usually required for the Bachelor of Accounting and Management. So we're typically looking for you to have approximately an 80% average or higher. for admission to that program. And I see someone has asked, I have a 3-year diploma in computer science. Can I apply to a Bachelor of Computer Science with my diploma? Yes, you can. We'll be looking at your overall average, your GPA, as calculated by us to determine your potential eligibility for admission to the computer science program. And since you're interested in pursuing a admission to computer science and you already have post-secondary studies, I encourage you to take this opportunity now to start to gather your relevant documents, including course outlines and course descriptions for all of the courses you've done within that program. That would be very helpful to us if you are eligible for admission and we're then considering you for potential transfer of credit. Does the scholarship cover the accommodation? Okay, so when I'm talking about tuition, tuition is the cost of taking classes. That is your classes and the workshops and labs that you're doing as part of your studies. It is separate from residence or accommodation, whether you're living on campus or off campus. It is separate from the cost of textbooks or personal expenses, such as buying new clothes or going out with your friends to have fun. So tuition doesn't cover the cost of housing, and any scholarship that you receive, whatever it may be, will reduce the cost of your tuition. So hopefully that answers your question. So when you're doing a budget to determine whether you or your family have the means of paying for your tuition, also take into consideration the cost of living in residence versus the cost of living off campus. Keep in mind, if high school is your highest level of education, we will automatically consider you for a guaranteed place to live in residence, as long as we're offering you admission prior to the middle of May. I hope that helps. Great. I don't see any more questions coming in. So I hope you have found this to be helpful. I appreciate you joining us today. I'm just going to go back one slide again. So I hope you've taken a photo or a screen capture of my contact details and the contact details of our team, international@carleton.ca. We would love to hear from you. And again, you may think of the most important questions after this session has ended. So feel free to reach out to us. And of course, definitely join our virtual open house. I'll be there. Many members of our international admissions team will be there, giving short 15-minute sessions on a variety of subjects. And we'll all be there to chat with you and answer any more questions that you may have. So definitely join the virtual open house happening on December the 7th. Oh, I do see another question here. Are there campus jobs for international students? Yes, there are some opportunities for jobs for international students on campus. Absolutely. And there are also jobs off campus if you're an international student. Keep in mind, in order to work off campus, you will need a work permit. And we have a great team in our International Student Services Office to help you apply for a work permit if you don't already have one. Also, that team can help you renew your study permit when that time comes, if necessary. There's all sorts of different events and sessions that they hold to welcome you to Canadian culture and Canadian society, and to simply to be there for you and support you throughout your time at Carleton University. And of course, our international admissions team are also there for you as well to support you through the entire information gathering process, the application process, and the admission process. So we're all here to help you and support you. And we definitely encourage you to reach out to us at any time if you have any questions or concerns. I see a question. I am a mature student. If I understand correctly, we do not get residence offer. You can apply for residence, actually. So Simply because we would not be guaranteeing a place to live in residence, it doesn't mean you cannot live in residence. There may be an opportunity for you to live in residence, and you're welcome to apply for residence. As a mature student, however, you may want to consider the fact that the residence is typically filled with 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and 19-year-olds. So if you're significantly older than that, you may want to live independently, perhaps in an apartment or a house near the campus. So the off-campus residence costs will vary depending on where you're living, whether you're living in a shared accommodation or a private apartment, whether that apartment is furnished or unfurnished. So there's a wide variety of different costs associated with that. If I were to hazard a guess, I would say that living off campus would likely cost an average of probably over 12,000 Canadian dollars, generally speaking. But again, it depends on whether you're sharing an apartment, if you have a roommate, or if you're living on your own. Great. So once again, I encourage you to ask questions here, but you're always welcome to join us at our open house, and I encourage you to do that. I'll be there, my colleagues will be there, and you'll be able to ask questions on such a wide variety of topics on residence, on the co-op opportunities available for you, and how we are connected to the industry in such a wide variety of areas, whether it be science or computer science or the media industry or government related programs. Even if you're doing programs like the liberal arts in psychology or law or history, you can still participate in co-op if you wish to do so. So definitely join our virtual open house on December the 7th. You can register for the open house online by going to carleton.ca/international. We would love to see you there. Great. I don't see any more questions, but please feel free to ask more questions if they come to you. If not, I really hope that you'll join us once again at the virtual open house on December the 7th. Yes. You can also send me an email again at international@carleton.ca, and it will be answered by members of our team. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm really happy that you're able to join us today. Take care and have a great day or a great evening. See you on December 7th. Thank you. Bye-bye.